Hello, Facebook. Am I here? I had to use a slightly different app. I have to do this a little bit differently today. So let me make sure. I should be able to see everybody. So if you're here, let me know that you're here. I am super excited about this card party today. Woo! Um, so as we get set up, gosh, I hate this screen. It's so weird. I don't know what's happening. Um, yes. Well, I'm just gonna hope for the best. I don't know what's gonna happen here because I had to go through Facebook Live, and I'm using their live thing. I usually use a different app, so we're not going to worry about it. We're just going to make it happen. I'm going to light a candle, and so that we can get started. Let's see. So I hope that everyone had a chance to think about some energy that you might like to check in on for today's card party. What I'm going to do is, hello, Miss Mayfield. Lovely to see you. So I am showing up beautiful. I don't have my normal cute little scroll on the bottom. Sorry, everybody. But I will just continuously say to you that if you have any questions, I'd love for you to put them in the chat, and I will start pulling cards. I'm gonna make sure, yes, my incense is going, my candle's going, I got my necklace on. I'm really excited because tomorrow also is the full moon. It's a blue moon, and so while people are joining us, I'm going to talk a little bit about that before we start pulling some cards. I also have a bunch of crap on my desk, so I'm going to move everything. You can't see it, but there, it feels better. So let's see. Tomorrow is Samhain, the original holiday before we had Halloween. And it is a time that many, those who celebrate Samhain believe that it is the in between time, and that the veil between the living and the dead is at its thinnest. So that if you are interested in or hoping to connect with someone who has passed over, this is kind of the easiest time of year to do that. It's a wonderful time to celebrate people who we have lost. And, a lot of people like to put up a little altar with pictures of the deceased and really just honor them and celebrate them. Saturday is also the beginning. Some think of like 3 days. There's a couple of traditions kind of merged together, but kind of 3 days of celebration of the dead. So Monday, a lot of people know about the Day of the Dead, or Dia de los Muertos in Mexico. And similarly, it is a time of celebration of our ancestors and honoring them in, not sad ways, but in beautiful ways. And so I definitely hope all of you have an opportunity to spend a little bit of time, again, just kind of remembering, celebrating, asking for wisdom and guidance from our ancestors. It's important. I also have, so this week I've been talking about fire energy, and so you saw this, I had this beautiful goddess here, that I did a little video with, but I also have one specifically for, I don't know if she's getting a little blurry. There we go. Specifically for Samhain, and she, all the things, all the charms on her little waist belt kind of represent the season. They represent, unlocking the keys to who you are and who you were and all that kind of magical stuff. So Hey, Catherine, welcome as well. So, I will say again for anyone who's just joining us, make sure to pop in your questions so we can pull some cards, and I'll start doing that in just a moment. I also wanted to mention, so I was talking about the season and the full moon. So, I also love Halloween. I love dressing up in costumes, and this is kind of sad this year that there's no Halloween party. A good friend of ours, Jen Carbuto, if you're watching, hey girl, usually has a big Halloween party every year. So, damn you, Rona, for not allowing that to happen. But we'll get it back. We'll get it back. So, also happy Halloween. So tomorrow is the full moon. So we've talked about before that full moons are a time of completion. They're a time where the energy has grown to its fullest and it's time to complete things, to end things. This is a great time to start burning things, right? So this week we talked about fire, and so burning should definitely be on your agenda this week if it wasn't already. But the full moon definitely is reminding us that it is time to complete things that you've been working on. It's a time to let go of things that it's time to move on from. I'd also say that I've had a lot of people ask me, really within the last probably week or so, maybe 2 weeks, but especially the last few days, I've had a lot of women asking about like what's going on, right? We're still Mercury in retrograde. And so what I would say is, and especially if Carrie's watching, hopefully she is, and she'll also ask a question, but what I've found recently that a lot of women are feeling, a lot of people are feeling, is that we've been working really hard. Like 2020 has been shitty. Okay, let's just put it on the table. And we've all had to work harder. We've all had to work in different ways to kind of survive this year. And we're still doing that. But you know how just before like really great things happen or things finally work themselves out, or you get to, if you've been in school and it's like almost the end of the semester and it seems like everything is just that much harder, it's because you're almost there, right? So there's so many of us who've been like really pushing to better ourselves, to do things differently in our lives, and we're right there on the precipice, right? We're right there. And so it feels really heavy. It feels really hard. And so I would just encourage everyone to just remember that, it's always harder before it's over, right? And so, this is a week of action. This is about, getting things done, moving things forward. So don't be discouraged. And, again, tomorrow, full moon, burn a bunch of shit. Okay. So let me do this. I'm going to, okay. Now I'm nervous because my incense is working really well. And I don't want the smoke alarm to go off, so we're gonna hope that doesn't happen. I may have to pop up in a minute and just open a window. So, all right. So here's what I'm gonna do. Since you all are being a little bit shy right now with your questions, I am actually going to start us out with pulling a card around, what's going on. What's kind of a general message that I can give to everybody. Today I'm using actually a different deck. I'm using the Spellcaster's Tarot deck, which is the deck that I was using kind of last year. I tend to use a slightly different deck every year just to check in on new energies and whatnot. And so I thought it would be nice. This is a really pretty deck. So I thought it would be nice to kind of show you guys this deck as well. So what I'm going to do, oh, I didn't even see if you guys saw my little ghosty friends up here. Aren't they cute? Yeah. Okay, so here we go. Let me switch my camera view so you guys can see the fancy view. Oh, look at that. Ain't she fancy? Even though my version looks a little weird now, but we'll see. Hopefully it's not too bad. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. I'm going to ask about everyone here. So for everyone who's going to be here, everyone who wants to check in on what's going on, if you're here for a reason. So while you think about your questions and pop them into the comments, and certainly Janelle, if you can let me know if there are things I can't see, you can pop them over for me. Let's just think. What do we need to know? Let's see what we get here. All right, so we're going to start. It was reversed. I'll flip it back over. And I'm actually going to let you guys take a look at this for a minute, a little closer, without me. This is usually what I do when I'm working with my clients, right? Because I want you to really think about what things, what you're seeing. It's less about what I'm seeing in general. Right now, it is my question. So the Two of Pentacles, as I described to people, the tarot is broken into, actually we'll come back while I'm talking to you. So the tarot is broken into two sections. There's the major arcana, which are the big life lessons that we have, that we need to learn, throughout our lives. And then there's the minor arcana, which is more of the day-to-day, more the mundane, more the things that we go through that are important, that we experience, but they're meant to move us through the bigger life lessons, okay? So there are 4 suits, and I will go back so that you can take a look at this card. And this is one of those suits. This is the Two of Pentacles. So I'm actually going to move this a little closer for you. There we go. So you really can see it. My colors are still a little weird. So what I want you to do, and again, this is kind of what I would do with my clients, but just so that it's not just me telling you all what you should think or what you should see, or this is about connecting with this energy. So what I would want you to do, and I'd love you to pop it in the chat too, if you can, is just look at this card and think about what's the first things that jump out at you, right? Whether it's an image, whether it's a particular color. I will try to adjust the color just a little bit because you're not getting the best version. But what is it that is jumping out at you the most, right? Is there a feeling? Whatever it is, I'd love you to pop it in the chat. Let me see if I can. There we go. It's a little bit better. It's a little brighter. So while you're looking at it, while you're thinking about it, so my question was, I noticed the dog. Hi, Ruben. Good. And so let me actually zoom in on this a little bit more so that you can see it really well while we're talking. Good. Okay. So I want to stop the juggling. Yeah. So, so my question was specifically around the messaging I need to give to you all in general, right? So what I want you to do, everyone who's watching, if you have questions, think about your question, pop your question in, and then when I pull a card for you, the things that you notice are the things, that are most important, and I'll describe that, but that are really most important and relevant for you as it relates to that card. So this is, my example. So my question for the cards was, what message do I have for you all? In general, for everyone who shows up. And so the Two of Pentacles, again, Pentacles is a minor arcana card. So it's more of the the day-to-day, the smaller things that are moving us towards our bigger life lessons. Pentacles are about tangible things that you can put your hands on, right? So whether it's money or, business or, things that you can do with money. Like I can physically touch this necklace. It's not about emotions or your thoughts. It's about actual physical, tangible things, right? And so twos, if you think about the minor arcana start with aces or ones and move through tens, and then there's court cards. But twos, pretty early on, right? So in general, the general meaning of the card is juggling, to your point, Luana, balancing two things at once related to, again, pentacles being tangible things. So are you juggling, work, two things at work? Are you trying to start a business? Are you trying to purchase some things? It's a feeling of being a little off balance because you are kind of doing two things at once, right? But it's still really early in your phase. So, upright, based on my question, would be, what's the message for you? Would be, there's probably many of you that are here that really feel like there's so many things happening, right? People, if you've lost your jobs, if you're, working a second job to make money, if you're trying to pay the bills, there's a lot of anxiety around what's happening in our world right now, what's happening in your life. For me, the first thing that jumped out at me was the tree trunk, if you will, that he's kind of balanced on, right? And so it's not only juggling, but it's also balancing those things. So it is that there are a lot of things going on. The message from me to you through the cards is that there are a lot of things going on. There are a lot of things that you're juggling right now, but you are balancing them, right? You are finding a way to make it happen, even if it feels really difficult. That you are doing it. You're not going crazy. Things aren't just out of control, right? And so some of the things that you all noticed here, again, Ruben noticed the dog, Luana noticed the juggling, Catherine actually noticed the ships in the background. And so one of the things is, yeah, definitely. So the dog often represents, and for you, hey, Hannah. And so for you, Ruben, the dog is often like that whole man's best friend, right? And he's kind of bringing in, looks like a little bag lunch or something. So remembering that there are other forces, there are other, friends, people around you who are there supporting you, even if you don't notice it right now, even if you aren't able to even see it because you're balancing so many things. There are resources out there that are supporting you, that are right there next to you, right? And Catherine, as far as the ships in the background, you see ships in a couple of the twos and the threes in the cards, and it's also oftentimes it is thinking about like you're, either setting sail, like you're putting something out into the universe, or it can be, kind of your ship is coming in, right? So the things that you've put out into the universe, your rewards are coming back to you, right? And so, think about it in those terms as well, right? So again, this was specifically my question, and so I'd love for you all to pop your question in here so I can pull a card for you. Now, while you're doing that, I also want to say, so this card, when I flipped it, was originally reversed, right? And so when we have the reverse cards, for me, I keep saying I'm going to find a better word than warning. It's almost, I don't mean warning in an ominous way. I mean that it's kind of a message of something to look out for, right? And so if I think about it in those terms for, this message for you all is also to remember, beyond the fact that you're juggling things and that you are being balanced, it is remembering that, or rather, don't forget the warning. Don't forget that that you are able, that you are still handling it, that it does feel crazy, that it does feel kind of upside down. And again, I mean, there aren't enough ridiculous words for 2020. But remembering that you are capable of doing the things that you set out to do. When 2020 started, we all had plans for what was going to happen this year, starting new businesses, starting new jobs, living our lives, whatever that is. Here we are. We've been struggling, we've been juggling, but we have survived it. We are here right now. We are making it happen, right? And so that's kind of the message. The thing to look out for is don't lose sight of the fact that you are capable of continuing to handle these things as they come up. Okay. Again, I've heard from several people recently who are like, what the frick is going on? Like, I don't, how much more can we take? It really is a message of like, don't give up, right? Don't give up on what's happening, how you're surviving, right? Uh, let's see. I thought I saw another comment in here. I don't see it now. Um, yeah, like I said, pop your questions in here. So, I'll also say that sometimes when I'm working with folks, I also like to look at what's underneath. And so that's like the bottom card, right? Let me move this over here. And so this is the underneath. This is the kind of what's below the surface of this energy, right? If we're very anxious, if we're worried about, I'll flip it over because it's a little easier for you to see. If we're worried about juggling things and balancing things and how that's going to work out, underneath that is the Four of Wands, right? I'll move this up here. And again, I'm going to give you just a moment to look at it by itself. And there you go. So again, just as I had you look before at the Two of Pentacles, you know, look and see what really jumps out at you, right? What images, colors, if there's a feeling that really jumps out at you, what does that look like? Go ahead and pop it in the chat if you'd like to, along with any questions that you might have. And I'm going to come back while you pop things in there. And I'll move this over. Keep it close. And so the Four of Wands, right? So again, this is a minor arcana card, right? And so minor arcana cards are energies that kind of come and go, but move through. Wands, unlike, so we had pentacles here, right? Pentacles are the suit of tangible things, things you can put your hands on. Wands is the suit of action, right? So that's what we're talking about this week is action. Sorry, this top is really weird. It's actually a whole dress that looks really cute, but it looks really brown on this. I don't know why my colors are off this week, but the wands are all about actions, the things that we're doing. So again, not our emotions. They aren't about, what we're thinking about a situation. They're not even about the tangible things that we can put our hands on. In that way, it's about the actions that we're taking, right? And so when we look at, fours are all about stability, right? You think of, four legs of a chair or to a table. Foundational things are very built on four walls, right? Four is all about stability. And so, put those together in general, the card Four of Wands is about finding stability in the actions that you're taking, right? So this card represents some kind of, looks like some kind of celebration, right? The foundations of a future, maybe of a family, of some kind of venture together, right? Whether they're getting married or whether they're, starting some project together, right? Four of Wands is all about creating stability, moving towards stability, right? And so for me, again, my question was related to, what's the message that I can give to you? With Two of Pentacles being the overall larger message, the Four of Wands, what's underneath that is, and it makes sense that we're all trying to create a foundation. We're all trying to create some stability for our futures, for our families, for our loved ones. And, when you're trying to do that, I'll move this over here. Again, if this is how we felt, this is what's underneath. Actually, I'll put it here so you can see them both a little nicer. Then, it is about creating that foundation so that we don't have to juggle anymore, right? We're juggling these things and balancing these things right now so that because of the fact that we're trying to build, we're trying to create space, right, for our future. And so, hey, Keisha, I didn't see you sneak in here. Okay, so for what you all saw, I see the first one, hands tied together, right? I see two women with their hands bound, strength and solidarity, diversity. Yeah, and so, again, it's about creating that foundation, creating that togetherness, creating something solid, right? The actual interpretation of tying things together, bringing things together to create that solidarity, right? You can see even that where's my little pen here? That there are literally 4 wands that are, on either side of each of these two people. And again, that's that stable foundation that is created around them, right? So our desire to want to endure this continuous juggling and balancing is really because we are trying to create this foundation, right? And 2020 thus far has been like, screw you, we don't want none of that, right? So, good. So I'm still waiting for your questions. Go ahead and pop them in here. I also want to mention that next week, while you're putting your questions in here, next week we're going to be talking about spirit, the energy of spirit. So we've gone through the other 4 elements in the 5 elements of manifesting. Next week, technically tomorrow, starts our spirit week. I couldn't have timed it any better given that tomorrow is Samhain/Halloween, and next week there are other, holidays directly connected to our spirit. When I talk about spirit energy, it is, depends on how you look at how you connect with that which is bigger than you. So it's the connection to the universe, to God or goddess, to your higher power. It's your intuition. And so all of those things, how we can really connect with that energy is what we're going to be talking about all next week. And so, again, it works out really perfectly that this is the perfect week coming up for that. So let's see. All right. Well, if there's no other questions, if nobody wants to ask a question for me to pull, I won't keep you all. If you come back later and decide that you have a question that you'd like me to pull a card for, later today, I'm happy to do that for you. What we've been doing each Friday is normally Friend Friday. So instead of me bringing an individual person in, I wanted to allow all of you, all of my friends, to kind of be able to come in and ask a question if you had one, check in, if there's something that you wanted to connect with or know about. So I think we're going to do this like once a month, maybe this, the last Friday of every month. We will pull some cards. I think that, maybe people might be a little, I won't say nervous, but a little shy about asking for cards or pulling cards, and I totally get that. So again, I will tell you that if you, today, if you want to send me a private message or in this video, Luana, do you have a question? You put question and then question marks. Do you have a question that you'd like me to pull a card for? If so, go ahead and pop it in the chat. And so if you do have a question that you'd like me to pull a card for, but you don't feel maybe comfortable doing it here, please go ahead and, ask me the question. I'll give you today. I'll pull you a card later and send you a picture of it. And, within the WTF group, if you are a member there, I am going to be doing more draws and things in the private group. So if you aren't already there, make sure that you pop over. So I just want to check in with you, Miss Mayfield, if you do have a question. I will wait a moment if you'd like to post something. I know there's a bit of a delay because Facebook Live is Facebook Live. So, but what else? Let me think. I told you about that. We talked about the moon. If anyone's not sure why tomorrow is a blue moon, it's just because it is the second moon, full moon in a month. It's called the blue moon. Let's see. Okay, so question. Going from making many decisions, I can't seem to make decisions. Is this part of the happenings in the universe? Well, I will say yes. That's not necessarily a card question, I don't think. If there's something you'd like specifically for you, a question that you'd like me to pull for, I will. I will say that. Again, Mercury's in retrograde, which means that communication and everything that is involved with communication is often a little off, sometimes a lot off when Mercury's in retrograde. So that can be speaking, that can be the way that you're thinking and processing information. It can also be the way that you are interpreting and receiving information, right? And so, obviously, you have to live your life. You can't stop everything you do 3 times a year when Mercury goes into retrograde. But feeling overwhelmed when it comes to communication, feeling like, why can't I make a decision, or why are there so many things on my plate, why am I focused in so many areas, is often heightened when Mercury is in retrograde. And it will be in retrograde until election day. So good segue for me to say, if you haven't already voted, do it right now. Get off of this get off of this call right now and go and vote if you have early voting. If not, make sure you do it Tuesday if you're in the States. So that is a part of what's happening right now. And so, okay, oh, I'm sorry. So you were looking for just a card on clarity about some things. So yeah, I will pull you a card on clarity. I also see Nandita. Hi, Nandita. Welcome. Okay, I will come back to your question in just a sec. So let me pull this card for Miss Mayfield on clarity. So clarity is a very general question. So Luana, if you want to put anything else in there to clarify what you mean. Otherwise, I will give you a very general of what we see here. Luana, okay. All right, so I'm going to say, Miss Mayfield, if you can see this card, I want you to tell me what jumps out at you, what you see first, what image or color or emotion, what really comes up. Hey, Tasha, welcome. Hey, Esther. Again, go ahead and pop your questions in there if you have them. I will answer as many of them as I can today. So, Luana, while you're thinking about what you see, and I will let you look at this a little closer for a sec. I wish the color was a little bit better. Let me see if I can. No, that's not. It's a little bit better. Let me give you some of this. Get some of this blue in here. Okay. So, Ah, clarity, new home build. Yes. So, okay. So I'm gonna put myself back in here. But yes, go ahead and tell me, Luana, what jumps out at you first while I give you the general kind of meaning of the card. So this is a major arcana card, right? And again, major arcana are the big life lessons that we all have to learn, that we all experience. And so, hey, Jacqueline. And so the World card is actually the last card of the major arcana cycle, of the life cycle. And the last card means that it's also preparing you for for the next card, right? So the World card is this idea of, things, all of your lessons, all of the things that you know coming together, and things really coming to fruition, right? So, there's a lot of things to see. I don't see if you've mentioned what jumped out at you specifically yet. But, the wreath, is traditionally seen as like a full circle, things coming full circle. And really the world card, usually the woman in this card is almost always nude, right? Because she's just like, bam, I'm here. I it's all good. I don't have anything to hide. I've learned all the things that I need to know. And, I'm here, shabam, right? And so, Luana, she's free flowing. Yeah. And so, it is, I'm curious if if you're having an energy now about purchasing your home, or building a new home. Is it freeing? Does it feel freeing for you? Does it feel like, yes, we've been doing all this stuff for a while, and finally, sorry, my nose is itching. Somebody needs to tell me what that is. My nose has been itching lately, and our aunt isn't around anymore for me to ask what that means. So what's it mean when the end of your nose itches? But yeah, so Luana, I'd be interested to hear if there is this sense of kind of freedom, right? That's taking you a while to get to where you are. But even if it still feels confusing, even if it still feels like there's a lot of options, does the option of building a new home versus what you were doing before, does that feel more freeing, right? So that's the energy that you want to look for. If it does not, then this card would indicate to you that you need to make a decision based on you feeling free and open, right? So let me know if that makes sense. But, for me, if the question just is, does this make sense for us to build? Yeah, it feels incredible for you. It feels like you can stop the cycle of all the stress that you were going through before in trying to find the perfect home. And again, this is the end of major arcana, moving into something new, right? Moving back to the beginning of the cycles, that now you can start focusing your energy on building that new life, building that new structure. Does that make sense? Let me know if you have a question about that. So let me move back up. Okay, the next one I see here is Nandita. Let me know if I'm not pronouncing that correctly. I apologize. I need guidance to know if we should try to go back to our home country or stay here in Europe, which will be beneficial for our family. Okay, so great question. And we haven't officially met before, Nandita. So welcome. If there's, I'd love to know where you are in Europe. I have a couple of friends, not many, a couple of friends overseas and some in Europe, and I'm curious where you're from. So let's see, Nandita. Yeah. Home country or Europe. Okay, if this card wanted to come out for you. So I'm going to have you look at two. Interesting. Okay, so I'm gonna have you look at this one first, Nandita, if you're hopefully you're here with me. I'm gonna switch over very quickly. Lawana, you're welcome. Hey, Candace. Hey, Wanda. If you all have any questions, go ahead and pop them in. There's a few before you. Oh, you're in Sweden. Wonderful. So good. You're still here. So let me know. I will switch this over briefly. Take a look at the card. Again, tell me what kind of jumps out at you. If there's an image, if there's a particular feeling. Sorry, I don't know the color. I'm just always trying to get the color right because the cards are really beautiful, and I feel like this camera does not do them justice. How's that? Okay. So, yeah, so while you're looking, Nandita, and figuring out kind of what jumps out at you first, I'll bring myself back into the screen. And so this is another major arcana card. So this is Temperance. Obviously, you see that here. And so Temperance in the major arcana, the big life lesson here is about, just as the word suggests, it is about tempering, you know, two decisions, two choices, two emotions, two things that you feel you're kind of balancing out. Obviously, there's a question, right? So there are two things that you're balancing, but oftentimes those two jugs that he's holding are seen as like hot and cold, right? Putting one into the other to balance them out, to get to warm, right? And so, Temperance also has kind of one foot on land and one foot in the water. And so I see here, looks like he's on a journey and excited about it. Good. So was there anything in particular in the card that jumped out at you? An image or color or a feeling other than that? While you're answering that, Tasha said, does the color change? Well, the colors that, if there's a color that jumps out at you, does have significance because it often connects with like one of your chakras, and that helps to understand the energy based on a chakra color that it is symbolic of, or if there's a particular color that you really like, that you notice that pops out. It may not be otherwise significant, but again, if you're looking at it, for me, when I am doing cards with people, it's about what you see. So if there is something that is significant for you that jumps out, then yes, we'll talk about the color as well. And so yeah, that's also why I'm trying to get the colors as nicely as I can, because not just because the cards are beautiful, which they are, but because if there are colors that jump out, that would be important. Okay. Thank you for that question. That's a good question. So yeah, okay. So Nandita, I don't see, okay, the posture of the mat is very strong. Yes. So what I would say to you is, while you're balancing out the decision of whether to go or whether to stay, for me, what initially jumped out was the wings on the top of his helmet, right? And so wings being that of flight, this is, he is supposed to be the image of, I can't think of the god with the wings on his feet right now. Mercury's in retrograde, but about motion and movement. And so you said that the white pops out to you. Yeah. So of course, all the things that jumped out at you are kind of neutral things. So I'm wondering if you really are feeling kind of like, whatever. If we go, if we stay, doesn't make a difference. If so, then I think there's other things to factor in, right? If you don't feel strongly personally, one way or the other, then I would say, talk to, yes, thank you, Achilles. Achilles? No, there's another one I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of the one who is really fast. It'll come to me. Of course, probably once this is over with, it'll come to me. But Nandita, yes, if there is if you personally, I feel like you personally, it may not make much of a difference to you if you go or you stay, but you noticing that the very strong posture of the man that's in the image. I'm wondering if there's a man, you mentioned your family. Is there a man in your family who has a very strong decision or would greatly like to do one or the other? I feel like whatever energy that is, whether it's a man or whether it's just a very strong projective energy, a person with more, what's considered masculine energy. Hermes is who I was thinking of. Yes, thank you, Luana. I'm wondering if that energy, that person, if they definitely do want to go, right? And so this card of balance would be, if you don't necessarily care one way or the other, and there is this very strong energy within a family member who's like, I really want to, I want to go back, listen to that, right? Listen to that person's instinct to want to move forward. Okay, let me know if that makes sense for you. While you do that, I'm going to come back up and see the next question. Thank you all for popping your questions in here. Okay, I feel like, do I country or stay here in Europe? Okay. So yes, so hopefully Nandita, that makes sense. That if there is someone who really does want to leave, that very strong energy, like don't fight it. Just go ahead and listen to their intuition if they are having a strong instinct to go. Okay, next I see Catherine. Catherine, if hopefully you're still here, will a second job be a good idea for me right now? Let's see. Will a second job be a good idea for me? Catherine, I also don't know that we've spoken before. So welcome. I'd love for you to tell me where you're chiming in from. Catherine, second job. Okay. All right. So, Catherine, if you are still here, I'm going to scroll back down. Oh, good. You are still here. Thank you so much. Oh, you're welcome. So just saying yes, maybe we need to move forward. Great guidance. Thank you so much, Nandita. I'm so glad that you put your question in. Catherine, you're in Mississippi. Oh, wonderful. Another Southerner. I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina. Okay, so what I want you to do, Catherine, I'm going to let you look at this card for a moment. I'm going to switch it over so you can focus on this. Oh, hold on. Hold on a minute. What did I do here? There we go. I feel like Mercury in retrograde is really just like being the most right now because I feel like all the cards look like the same color, and I promise you they're not. But go ahead and tell me if there's anything that jumps out at you, that you notice really strongly, an object, a color, even though the colors are being weird. And I'm going to come back to me as well. You can keep looking and pop in, Catherine, whatever jumps out at you. So this is the Five of Pentacles. So we had Pentacles early on, and Pentacles again are about the tangible things, the things that you can physically touch. And whether it's things like money that you can touch, things that you can buy with money, business, or again, anything that you can put your hands on, right? It's not an emotion or a thought, it's physical things you can actually touch. So that's what pentacles are. The fives are like the midway point, right? Fives are the in between, are the change, are the, not the beginning, but moving halfway towards the end, right? And so traditionally, right, outside of question, Five of Pentacles would be, the fear of change as it relates to, again, business matters, tangible things. For you, Catherine, the wolf, the man and woman leaving, but the lady is looking back. Okay, and do you have a particular feeling about that? So you mentioned the wolf and you mentioned the lock on the door. So tell me what you noticed about the wolf, and how that feels. You said strong emotions, strong good emotions, strong bad emotions, fearful. So what I would say about a second job, again, specifically related to these cards. Wait, I'm trying to move this a little bit closer so you can see it a little bit better while I'm talking to you. There you go. Um, you know, in this particular deck, so in other decks, this card for me feels usually more hopeful. But in this particular deck, I feel like the Five of Pentacles, the focus really is on fear, right? It's on fear of this change. It's like, we were coming to this place, and there's a dog here barking at us. The doors are locked. Like, what's going on? Let's get out of here, right? As you think about, taking on a second job, it seems like there is some not just contemplation, but maybe a little fear around, what's going to happen if I take on this second job. Um, I can't say you should or should not take on the second job, but I would say that, think about what it is that's scaring you, right? About taking on the second job, right? The wolf often is seen as, again, part of our intuition and our instincts. You said the wolf looks like he's protecting the home. The lady looks like she's unsure. Yeah. So I'm glad that you said that, Catherine, because, I'm wondering if you are having a fear that if you take on this second job, that you aren't going to be able to be as connected to your home life, right? So I don't know, if you have a family, if you have children, things like that, if there's this fear of, if I take on a second job, I'm not going to have time to be around, my kids or my, um, well, hi, Justina. Oh, okay. So, Armstrong Justina is telling folks that if you'd like a free spiritual reading, that you can consult them. Feels a little bit rude on the page today, but it is what it is. If you would like to go and contact this person, I honestly don't know who it is, so take that with a grain of salt. But yeah, so I would just say that if you're having that fear, of taking on this other job, listen to it. Listen to that instinct, right? Listen to that connection, that intuitive voice that is like protecting your family. Like, you really need to focus on family right now. Obviously, if you are, in a space where you have to have money, certainly, you know, I'm not going to tell you you shouldn't, but if there's a way that you can, be at home more, or just focus on your first job and your family, definitely look into that, right? If you do need to take on a second job, I would say that, just be mindful of how you are able to balance that out with your family, right? Does that make sense? Nope, 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 nope. Sorry, I clicked something. I didn't mean to. Okay, so let's see. Um, let's see here. I would say, Janelle, if you're on here, um, Armstrong Justina, I'm not sure who this person is, but it's moving my feed really fast. If you can just block them for right now, would be wonderful. And again, I don't know who this person is, so take with a grain of salt if you are interested in connecting with that person. Okay, let's see. Let me move back up for the question. I'm sorry, there's a lot of connection here, which I love it. Okay, so Esther is next. And yes, Catherine, let me know if that makes sense for you. I will look a little bit. I'll look through the list and hopefully that's helpful. Let me know if you needed any clarity on that. Let's see, Esther. Hi, Esther. I want to know how it will go in love. Well, Esther, let's see. Is there, I'd love to know if there is a particular love interest that you have, or, if this is geared towards any one or thing in particular. Let me know that. How will it go in love? I mean, is it going in love this year? Is it going in love in general? I'd love to hear about that. Let me scroll down real quick and see, Esther, if you've put anything more in. Good, Catherine, I'm glad. Let's see. Thank you, Vinnie Morris. Security is here. Okay, thank you, Janelle. I appreciate that. Let's see. Thank you all for your support. Let's see. Okay, so yeah, so let me know if there's something specific that you want me to check in on as far as love goes, what that means for you. Just because that's a broader question, and so I want to make sure we can be as specific as possible. Um, and then the next question is going to be Jacqueline. So if you are here as well, Jacqueline, I will answer you next. You both have kind of love questions. But again, Esther, if you're here, just let me know a little bit more specific, if what that is. Jacqueline, I actually will jump to Jacqueline's question while I wait to hear back from you, Esther. Do I see a relationship happening soon for you, Jacqueline? Let's see. Relationship soon. And yes, Esther, if you're here, I will come right back to you, if you're still here. So, Jacqueline. Okay. Hey, Jacqueline. Nice to meet you too. Where are you from, Jacqueline? I'd love to know. Thanks for being here. Okay. I'll give you one more shuffle. Yes. Thank you. The lovely Janelle has posted that if you are not already part of my WTF group, that would be wonderful if you want to join over there and get a little bit more one-on-one time with me. All right, Jacqueline, let's see. Let's see what's up with you, girl. All right. I'm going to remember that this was reversed, but I'm going to let you look at this. I'll give you just a minute to look at it. Again, I want you to take a look and tell me what jumps out at you. Oh, you're in the UK. Wonderful. So what jumps out at you? Images, colors, if there's a feeling, go ahead and post that in. And I will come back in just a second. I will say while you're looking at this, so this is the Six of Cups. And let's see, let me come back to me. All right. So, and you can keep looking and go ahead and, I'm going to unpin this comment just because it's like right at the bottom. It's blocking me. Okay. There we go. Let me move you here. All right. So, Six of Cups. So, cups are, we haven't seen cups yet. Cups are all about emotions, right? And so it makes sense. You're asking about relationships. So, cups is about emotions. It's a minor arcana card. And the Six of Cups, so again, we talked about the fives last time. Fives is that kind of halfway point. So six is a little bit, moving forward a little bit. But what I always find in Six of Cups is that connection between the past and the moving forward. So almost like a reflection of what's happened before, kind of bringing that forward. That makes sense. So in general, the Six of Cups is often about making choices, looking at the options that you have in your relationship, and in this card, I feel like almost from not a new perspective, but from like a youthful perspective, right? But still reflecting on the past. I actually almost want to say, I wonder if this is a person who kind of has come back from the past. I'm getting a sense like this is an old, or like an old flame, or I'm actually getting a sense of like a high school sweetheart or something. I don't know, but definitely kind of moving forward, thinking about this relationship, thinking about the choices that you have to move forward, from a more youthful perspective, right? Let me know, Jacqueline, if this makes sense to you. And I mean, it feels really good. It feels like I want to say it almost feels like there is people, there's family members, maybe there's someone around this relationship that really is kind of given their nod of approval. And again, I'm thinking there's a lot for me that's coming up of the past coming forward in a new and really beautiful way. Like, again, when I say youthful energy, I'm thinking like literally these kids with the cups, right? Literally they're playing together, they're building together. And so, yes, I'm in the middle of making choices. Yeah. And so, I'm wondering if, and I am really curious, Jacqueline, if there is some connection to the past in this relationship and moving forward, like from long, long ago in the past. But tell me the things that are jumping out for you specifically, right? So again, what I see is again that really youthful, happy, like we're doing it together, we're kind of growing together, kind of energy. And again, I really feel this like there's a support there from others related to this relationship and moving forward. Okay. But again, I'd love to hear what really jumped out for you, and so that I can talk more specifically about what for you is really important. So go ahead and pop that in. I'm going to look back up while I'm waiting for Jacqueline to give me her response there to see what's next. I feel like no, I know that I saw a question. Okay, here's Esther's. Here's Jacqueline. Keisha. Keisha, let me know if you are still here, and so that I can pull a card for you. Da, 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 da. And I'm going to keep looking down to see if I missed a question. And I don't see another question. Let me know if I'm missing it. Now, Catherine, you'll have to catch me next time to get another card pulled for you. Um, okay, so all right, I see you, Keisha. Wonderful. So, Jacqueline, no, okay, not long ago in the past, but there has been some hurt caused to me from some of the things that have been done. So, I'm in the middle of making choices about moving on. So, yeah, so again, the Six of Cups, like I said, it is about moving forward, but thinking about what has happened in the past, right? And so, what I would say to you is there is a very, again, joyful, youthful energy from this card. And if it is about you making decisions, then I would definitely say, I see that Armstrong is back again with her spiritual reading stuff. Um, I don't know where she's coming from. Janelle, if you're still here, you can go ahead and move that out of the way. So let's see. But so I would say to you, I apologize, Jacqueline. I would say to you that there is something very joyful about what's going to happen with you moving forward after you have, again, kind of looked backwards, moved beyond the chaos of that middle ground, and made a decision forward. Now, if you're looking at your choices, if you're thinking about this relationship, if you're now at the point, right, where you've moved from the middle being like, okay, I need to make a choice of where I'm going, and you're looking back and it doesn't feel like you can happily move forward. The way forward is going to be what makes you feel like what these kids look like in the card, right? It's going to be that joyful, youthful decision making process. Again, emotionally, not what you're thinking, right? So I don't want you to think about what's happened in the past. I want you to feel into what has happened in the past, feel into that. And if this person that you are thinking about moving forward with does not make you feel like that, does not make you feel like you want to, grow old with this person, then that's not the person for you, because there is a relationship moving forward that is going to make you feel like that happy, beautiful, joyful energy, right? And so, it seems, I know, I see it, Vinny. It is really strange, but I definitely, and I'd love for you to check back in with me on this one. Jacqueline, because I really feel like there's someone from your past who there's someone from your past who's, I don't know, coming for you, coming back to you. I definitely feel some energy of like a past relationship or friend or something that's kind of making their way into your space. That's going to really bring some nostalgia for you, is going to feel really comfortable and happy for you. Again, maybe it is this person. I'm not suggesting that this person you're in a relationship can't make you feel that way, but I will say if they don't, then that is not the person for you. That's my opinion, right? That's what I certainly get from the cards. But ultimately, you have to ask yourself that question, right? And woman to woman, isn't that how you want to feel in your relationship, regardless of what the cards say, right? But I would love for you to get back to me and let me know, A, how that feels, and B, if that person shows back up in your life, Jacqueline. There has been some support from friends regarding the situation. Yeah, and I'd be curious, if your friends are supporting you moving on from this relationship or supporting you getting through it, listening to those people, their opinions is helpful, but ultimately you need to make a decision, because there is a relationship that's going to make you feel amazing and just fun, even if it's not for a lifetime, that you're going to feel really fun and excited about. That is, that's in your energy, that's in your space right now. So Yes. Thank you for that. Thank you very much. Okay. So, Keisha, um, you asked about adoption. So this was our last question. I will say that you all are always welcome to kind of check in with me. If you ever really want to have a sit down one-on-one with me, you're welcome to do that. I'd love to be able to sit down with you one-on-one. I'm going to answer your question, Keisha. And you can go right to the website and book a session with me anytime. Keep an eye on the page and the group to hear more about what's kind of going on and the energies that we're connecting with. Supporting you, Jacqueline says that these folks have been helping move on from them. Yeah, so we'll go ahead and do it then. If you got the support, this is the week of action, right? We've got the full moon coming tomorrow. It's about burning shit down that we don't need anymore and moving forward. So yes, don't wait anymore. If nothing else, 2020 has shown us that we can't wait around. We have to make beautiful things happen right now. All right, Keisha, this is for you. Adoption. Oh, baby energy. Yay, babies. Yay, babies. Now, I can't tell you whether you should or should not adopt these babies, but we will check in on the energy around you and these babies. Let's see. All right. I'm gonna go back to my other view. Here we go. I'm gonna put this here. I will say this was a reverse card, so if I forget, I'm gonna give you some reverse information. But I want you to look at this first. So Keisha, if you are here, tell me what you take a look at this card. Tell me what jumps out at you. Any image, any color, any feeling. And I will come back and we'll talk about it. Okay. I'm back. All right. So, Keisha. So this is the Suit of Swords. We have not seen swords yet. Swords is the last of the four. Okay, you saw the sword. So after you tell me the things that jumped out at you initially, if you had a particular feeling about them or what you noticed about them, pop that in too. So swords, we have not seen swords yet. Swords is all about thought, is about our mind. Last week's energy was on air. So if you're around for air, that's all about the ways in which we think about things, that we dream about things. It's all the things that are in our minds. It's not how we feel. It's not the actions that we're taking. It's not the things we can put our hands on. It's the things that we're thinking, right? And as I really stressed in Air Week, I really stressed the fact that the swords can have that kind of double-edged sword to them. They can have that, negative energy sometimes, as well as the positive thoughts, because our minds just, they just start running, and sometimes we think the worst, right? And so traditionally, the king, so we also haven't seen any court cards. So the kings, just like in a deck of cards, right, there's the court cards after the number cards. So the court cards, the kings specifically, are all about projective energy, right? So masculine energy is projective, outward facing. Queens are feminine energy, they're receptive energy. Kings rule in a sense of like order and structure, and they create laws, and they create, these kind of organized systems, whereas feminine energy does more of the communication, creating groups, things like that. So the King of Swords, putting those two things together, the card by itself, would indicate creating that kind of structure, that kind of rules and whatnot around our thoughts, right? Just in general. So when we add in the question around adoption of the kids that you have right now, and where you are with that, you know, the things that you mentioned, the sword, you mentioned the purple and facial expressions, and the imagery is really strong. Thank you. Janelle posted a link into the page if you're interested in booking anything with me at any point. Looks like a wizard. Oh, yes. Okay, there it is. He does kind of look like a wizard. I don't know how you feel about wizards. I personally love them. So for me, with those things that jump out at you, I feel like you have been in your head quite a bit around the logistics of how to move forward, right? I will say too, originally this was reverse. So again, for me, reverse is kind of that warning, not in a tragic way, but warning, like things to remember. With what I just said, remembering that you can be in your head a bit too much. You can be too logistical about moving forward. When it comes to this, making this decision, right? So I'm wondering if you have maybe not taken enough time to feel right, the emotion of what that would mean for you to adopt these kids, right? You may have thought of every, again, logistically, all the paperwork. Okay, well, if we keep them, is there enough space? Do we need a bigger house? How are we going to pay for college, right? You may have logistically come up with all the reasons, all the pros and cons. You may have made a list, right, about the pros and cons of doing this. But this being a warning, again, kind of as it was in reverse, is don't just focus on the list, right? Put the list away, and stop focusing on how you think this should be or how you think it can work out. And being, you even notice like his face and, that almost, I don't want to say like painfully structured, but his face is like very severe, like very serious about everything. And I suppose you have to be as a king and creating rules and whatnot. But the warning is don't get stuck in that, right? Move out of your mind and spend some time thinking about how this would actually feel, right? Again, not how you think it would feel, but allow yourself to actually feel what that would look like for you. Feel how that will affect your family and growing your family and all of those pieces, right? Spend less time creating the lists about the pros and cons. Does that make sense? Again, that sword being that the kind of double-edged sword there, it is that notion of, again, I just keep thinking of like those pros and cons, those back and forth of your mind, trying to make a decision. Instead, like put that all away and just really feel into it. What's that going to feel like for you if you were to do this, right? Again, if you're here, let me know if that makes sense for you. Yes, it does. Good. Yeah. And I mean, again, obviously, logistically, you have to do those things, but at the end of the day, it's more important how you feel about it, right? Than what you can put on paper. And, given that this would be a growing of your family, everyone needs to sit down and think about, feel into what it would feel like to do that, right? And if it feels scary, but potentially amazing, then that's your answer, right? If it feels like, ooh, you know, I would like to be that person for these kids, but I don't feel it the same way, then that's your answer, right? But I don't think honestly you're going to find the answer in a list or on a piece of paper or just in your mind. Okay? Keela said yes, because I have been thinking mostly about the logistics and not sure how to do the field part. Yes. Yes, definitely. Sit down with that. Really think about what that means. You know how to find me. You can always give me a call. We can talk a little bit more about that too. So good, wonderful. I hope that helps. I do see one other question that came in. I did say I was going to leave. So, Serby, what I will do, because I don't want to keep everyone here. We've been on for a little while. So, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, Serby. But I will send you a message with a picture of the card that I pull for you, with kind of what comes up. And you're always welcome to connect back with me. I'll do that right after this live. And, I just wanted to kind of wrap up and say, again, like, thank you all so much. I was really excited to come on and do this card party. And again, I mentioned I'm going to be doing this, I think, the last Friday of each month. And I'd love for you to come back with your questions, spend some time together. Until then, check out the WTF group. Next week, we'll be focused on spirits, and connecting with that energy of our intuitions and of spirit. Make sure tomorrow, it's the full moon. Sit down, think about what you need to let go of, what you are completing, burn all the shit that you don't need anymore. Have a spectacular and blessed Samhain. Have a happy Halloween. I will be back. I probably won't be live on Monday. So, Feliz Dias de los Muertos for everyone who celebrates. And if you have any questions, I'd love to hear from you. Go ahead and send them to me. You can message me, whatever. And I will see you again on Wednesday for Wednesday Woo at 2. All right. Talk to you all soon.